The art commentary community contains some of the most degenerate freaks I've ever had the displeasure of covering, and they truly prove the ancient proverb correct. That being, anyone with an animated character representing them online is hiding something. Alright, now that half of you feel personally called out, yes, I'm looking at you weebs and furries, it's time to lay out the art commentary community and the dramas plural to be more accurate, that managed to introduce a significant number of them to the Nightmare Blunt rotation. The focus of this video is on Synnibear03, however there will be a part 2 and part 3 that are coming out within the coming weeks. So without further ado, let me briefly explain the art commentary community. Nugget, stop it. Stop attacking the microphone. Little shit. For reference to the style of content they produce, when I refer to the art commentary community, or ACC for short, one of the names that should come to mind is Jaden Animations. Don't worry, unless there's something I'm missing or some behind the scenes shit going on, I'm pretty sure Jaden Animations is innocent in all of these dramas. However, that doesn't exempt her from the degeneracy and unfortunately being a target of it. That is something that I'll have to establish in part 2 or 3. For now though, understand that one of the root causes of this degeneracy in the art commentary community is its close ties with websites like Rule34, Tumblr, or DeviantArt. Rule34 is an internet-based concept which claims that if it exists, there is of it, with the website of the same name seeking to facilitate that thought process. This obviously leads to some questionable works being produced and shared. Now when it comes to Tumblr, well, it's the spawn point of pretty much every terminally online lefty, with a considerable amount of them citing it as their first notable exposure to the internet. Last but definitely not least, when speaking in regards to DeviantArt, let's just say that the name is pretty accurate. Although I'm sure not everything on the website is degenerate, there is a considerable number of shut-ins who will share their generally crudely drawn depictions of everything a mentally sound individual would consider heinous. Just as some examples, not in any particular order, you have people drawing zoo, self, etc. I'm sure that sounds fantastic after censoring. Now, combine these individuals with a commentary YouTuber whose commentary primarily revolves around the various they've undergone, and you get a DeviantArt ranter, or the newest rendition, an art commentary community creator. Additionally, from what I can tell, a significant number of the creators within the ACC are either inspired by or outright made a name for themselves in the DeviantArt community as a DeviantArt ranter. Also, by the way, I'm pretty sure DeviantArt ranters release illustrations alongside either a written story or video. So again, just the predecessor to the art commentary community. Now, the issue arises when you take into consideration the fact that both YouTube and DeviantArt, or well, pretty much any website for that matter, don't exactly have the best age verification. And regardless of whether they did, the sign-up age on both YouTube and DeviantArt is 13 anyway. If you could not tell, this is a recipe for disaster. Not only are minors being exposed to, and in some instances subsequently drawing, some of the most vile and depictions of kids, but it also opens them up to the possibility of interacting with anyone of any age, potentially taking it onto another platform such as Discord. Speaking of, meet Synnibear. Synnibear03, who I'm just going to call Synni most of the time for brevity, is an art commentary YouTuber with 500,000 subscribers. Her first upload was 7 years ago, and it was a speed painting of the My Little Pony character Scootaloo and Sans from Undertale, which unfortunately will be significant shortly. Concerningly, however, in 2021, Synni created a 13+ Discord called Synnibear03 Fan Club. You may be thinking, oh wow, what do you mean concerningly? I'm sure you're just being cynical. Well, beginning in early September, 3 separate documents totaling 311 pages were released accusing Synni of grooming numerous minors as young as 14, beginning in 2020 when Synni was an 18-year-old. By the way, for reference, Synni was born on September 22nd, 2003. Beginning with the first document to be released, which is 111 pages long, it appears to me as if it was posted anonymously and subsequently spread by viewers and members of the community. As a result, I'm just going to refer to the document writer as Inon. Inon claims they first met Synnibear at the age of 15 around 2020 to 2021 through a Discord group chat called Sockgang. Inon elaborates that they weren't the only minor in the group chat, with 4 total including themselves, as well as an additional 3 adults, one of which was 24 when Inon eventually left the group chat in October of 2023. The numerous adults would seemingly not shy away from sharing or talking about content, with Synni being a particularly bad offender. This displayed through several screenshots shared by Inon showing Synni talking about being perpetually or even sending art, which from my best guesses, depicts Synni's original character, or OC for short, wearing underwear while severed in half with the stated goal of, and I quote, "I wonder if I can show her boobs and butt at the same time." Subsequently, a 15-year-old, of course, responds stating that they suck the booty, to which Synni calls them a confirmed neck. This image was additionally sent by Synni to her art channel on her 13+ Discord. Arguably the worst message exchange that was sent to the Sock Gang Discord group chat before the Inon left in October of 2023 is probably this. It's a fragment of conversation where Synni and this 24-year-old have supposedly been venting at each other, and Synni states that she cannot because she doesn't get feeling from it, to which a 16-year-old engages with the conversation. I don't know if Inon can do maths, but I'm pretty sure this 23-24 thingo is wrong, judging by the evidence they present, which shows the 24-year-old joining the server in 2021 and stating that they are 23. If this is true, then at the time of the messages, they would have been 25, but whatever, it's a minor point. No pun intended. Anyway, Inon goes on to reveal that they were actually the ones to write the rules for the Synnibear03 fan club all the way back in 2021, and they had not been altered once since they had wrote them. What's notable, however, is that they do state no NSFW topics, art, or images under any circumstances. This is a 13+ server, there are minors here. Despite this, Synni still sent that gore image, as well as this. Under what I've censored is a nude drawing of Synni's OC with her privates obscured by her hair or legs. The text states that her fans are free to draw stylized images of her OC. Not only did she send this to her 13+ Discord server with rules against NSFW posting, but much like with the gore image, she pings the @artping rule, which, from my understanding, anyone, including minors, can have. This is proven by the fact that numerous individuals who had left emoji reactions under the Synni art messages had shared in the intro channel that they were as young as 13. This intro channel is interesting because according to Inon, to even access the text and voice channels on the Discord server, you had to send an intro message which included your age. Subsequently, Synni had an easy way to check the ages of the individuals that she was talking to, yet seemingly did not, or just disregarded it. There are quite a few of these art ping messages that Synni sends, so I'm not going to talk about all of them, just the notable ones. However, even the ones that aren't mentioned will be on screen. Probably censored. When I initially read this, I did a bunch of regrettable Googling to try and figure out what the Synnibear meant, but didn't come to a firm conclusion, at the time at least. After delving further into the degeneracy, my best understanding is that Synnibear is a relationship shipping name, with Sin being for Synni and Mare being for Nightmare Sans, which is another artist's OC fan art of the character Sans from Undertale. Oh, and upon reflection, obviously NM stands for Nightmare. This was a consistent issue when researching the art commentary community. They throw around these abbreviations and terms that are localized entirely within their niche fandom dedicated to a children's game, and expect everyone to understand what they're referring to, but whatever. Although I said Sans from Undertale would be relevant later, this isn't exactly why, but regardless. There were numerous people who discussed the art, including a 16-year-old who stated NM is going to be waddling for the rest of the story. Not only that, but Synni responded to the 16-year-old's comments on her sexualized art not once, but twice. Arguably the most bizarre art ping message is Synni's apparent redraw of her naked baking image. Although this is on its surface less than asking a bunch of 16-year-olds to draw sexualized art of your OC, the reasons for it being are more insidiously hidden. You see this Bomberman looking thing on the shelf? Well, that is Witty, the OC of the, at the time, 17-year-old artist Sock.Clip, who even currently still has a request in her bio asking that people do not marry, ship, kin, HC, woobify, or lewd her OCs. I do not know what half of those words mean, and I'm not intending on finding out. Regardless of what they mean, Synni is very clearly disregarding Sock.Clip's request, and she's apparently quite aware of that, as I will establish. Before that though, let me draw your attention from Witty and to the oven that Synni is naked baking in. This voodoo doll looking thing is known as Boy, and it's another one of Sock.Clip's OCs that Synni is obsessed with. Note that in all of the screenshots of Discord DMs, Synni's profile picture is that Boy character. Now, as for Synni's awareness of Sock.Clip's dislike of the or shipping of her OCs, Well, Synni had already gotten blocked by Sock.Clip and in drama for that exact issue all the way back in 2022, which, might I note, would have been when Sock.Clip was 16 and Synni was 19. Here is the apology that Synni tweeted out. Although there is a private draft version that was sent to Inon, who subsequently told Synni not to post it. Regardless of this, it's notable that Synni had been drawing images of Witty since 2021 when Sock.Clip was 15. Here is a drawing she made during that time period, which is blatant art alongside a substantial amount of shipping content. It's just so bizarre to me that Synni has been so persistent on this initially 15-year-old's drawings for nearing on 4 years now, despite the fact that Sock.Clip is very clearly opposed to it. It was such an established thing about Synni that someone had even commissioned art of Synni's OC and Witty in bed together for Synni's birthday, which ended up being commented under Synni's apology tweet. Additionally, I kept reading that the boy OC is canonically Arrow Ace. It took me like 5 minutes to realize that wasn't just a consistently repeating spelling error, but I'm pretty sure it means that he is aromantic ace. So yeah, clearly the artist really doesn't want people or romanticizing their OC. I haven't even shown you the most egregious that Synni has drawn of these two OCs yet, but anyway, you may have noticed that the Discord group chat was named Sock Gang. It's never explicitly stated, but my best assumption is that it was titled this because it was either a Sock.Clip fan group or just because Synni was a fangirl of this, at the time, 15-year-old artist. I do not believe Sock.Clip was ever in the chat, as evidenced by the fact that Synni would talk about her drama with Sock.Clip within it, and clearly Sock.Clip doesn't want anything to do with Synnibear. Inon goes on to talk about why they left the group chat in October of 2023, stating it was due to an allegation that Synni had been inappropriately contacting a 17-year-old that Inon refers to as O when Synni was 19. The way Inon displays that is through screenshots of a conversation with a mutual friend of Synni and Inon by the name of Laurel, who was still in the Sock Gang group chat and acted as a means for Synni and Inon to communicate. Regardless, it was revealed to Inon that the 17-year-old O had received a comic that was way too long from Synnibear03 that depicted Sock.Clip's OC boy Nightmare Sans. Now, this is why I was saying that the 7-year-old speed painting of Scootaloo and Sans from Undertale would be unfortunately relevant later. Oh, that and the fact that Synnibear's original channel name was Scootaloo Loves Sans. Inon additionally states that it was revealed to them by O that O had sent Synnibear photos of themselves as well. When the DMs were released, Synni left a public defense in the form of a long-winded comment calling O a coward for releasing her private DMs trying to paint her as a predator instead of talking to her and sorting it out in private. Pretty bizarre crash out, although it seemingly worked, as O also made the mistake of including uncensored versions of the art that Synni had sent them in their video, and as far as I'm concerned, people subsequently wrote it off. A creator by the name of Soph ended up interviewing Synni at the time, which led to her continuing a defense stating that she had suffered trauma and abuse when she was younger, subsequently leading to her coping with non-con and masochism. Inon additionally provides evidence of Synni acknowledging it would be wrong for her to ever depict non-consensual scenarios with her young audience. Yet, despite this, she sent the boy Nightmare Sans comic to not just O when they were 16, but also a 15-year-old, which brings us to document 2. This document, written by an individual seemingly known as Inon, is 188 pages long, although at least 69 of those pages are dedicated to the comic of Sock.Clip's OC boy Nightmare Sans, or those aforementioned characters participating in various with Synni's OC. Regardless, Inon opens the document by stating that Synni is not a but a group. This is a phrase that will be extremely relevant in a future video, probably the 3rd part. Judging by the screenshots, it seems that Inon was a friend of Soph, the individual who interviewed Synni, which resulted in Inon and Soph discussing the drama. Inon subsequently reached out to Synni trying to strike up a conversation on the 18th of November 2023. It's unclear when Synni ended up responding, but the next screenshot that Inon shows is on the 17th of February 2024. and it displays Synni asking how old Inon is. Inon states that they are 14 and also clarifies that it is okay if that means that Synni wants to cut contact. 20 minutes later, after considering whether or not she wanted to continue preying upon this minor, Synni states, "Why are all the funny people children? Nah, I just don't want to become uber close friends with minors." So of course, being the loose friends that they are, they continue talking for months, supposedly having calls that could last up to 4 hours. Inon additionally provides evidence of Synni talking about how she can't send Inon NSFW art because they are a fetus. Despite this, less than 3 hours later, Synni is sending this image of boy claiming, "I see male and I'm suddenly a baby in need of breastfeeding." That is definitely being taken out of context later in my career. It appears this dialogue was initiated the day before, with Synni discussing her drama with Sock.Clip, describing it as, "I can't believe I have beef with a 17-year-old. I don't know if I would describe sending art to a minor and violating their eyes beef, but yeah, sure, Synni. Anyway, there are countless more conversations and images that Synni sent to this minor, including what looks to be Synni's OC pegging boy, and Synni's OC. And yeah, well, of course, the 69 pages of the non-con comic depicting boy Nightmare Sans. Sorry, gang. I just realized there are multiple boys in the comic. The final category of evidence provided in the second document is Synni's DMs with her adult friend, in which they talked about shit that Synni then screenshot and sent to Inon. Again, bear in mind, Inon is a 14-year-old and Synni knew this. Time for the third and final document.
What? You must be retarded.
This document is 12 pages long, and holy thank for once in the Nightmare Blunt rotation research process, this person actually knows how to format a document. Regardless, it's written by an individual who goes by the name of Sinner, judging by the Discord DMs. Sinner states that he was 14 when he initially made contact with Synnibear, who was 18. Although Sinner doesn't exactly state their birthday, they do state that they are turning 18 in the weeks after the document was released, which was on October 9th, 2024. Sinner states that the aforementioned Laurel, who was acting as a communication point between Anon and Synnibear, was also the one to introduce Sinner to Synnibear when Sinner was 14 in February of 2021. According to Sinner, Laurel decided to do this because Synnibear seemed lonely, a lot was going on, Laurel felt like her only friend at the time, and Sinner seemed like a good friend. Sinner, Synnibear, and Laurel would continue to chat frequently in the Sock Gang group chat, where they would continue to share art and talk about fandom shit. What's notable, however, is that this group chat existed for roughly 3 months before Synnibear released her initial apology, so Sinner supposedly provided advice on its creation. Unfortunately, these conversations escalated to Synnibear discussing the details of a yet-to-be-written boy Nightmare Sans comic. Wait, no, hold on a second, this is a different Nightmare Sans comic. This is called Queen of Nightmares, and it was written before the boy one was. Regardless, this of course also spurred off into a controversy in 2021 due to the contents of the comic. To be specific, it depicted Synni's OC being kidnapped and subsequently abused by Nightmare Sans. Synnibear would essentially draft the comic by sharing her, and I quote, lucid daydreams that she had manifested from personal with Sinner claiming that this was a way for Synnibear to cope with it. As per usual, this escalated and it got to the extent that Sinner and Synnibear were intending on collaborating on a comic together, which subsequently led to Synnibear sending art of an individual being tortured, kidnapped, and interrogated by the murder trio. Sinner hopefully left the clarification that that refers to Killer Sans, Horror Sans, and Dust Sans. How in the did these fandoms get so degenerate? It's repeatedly stated by Sinner, but I think it's apparent if you look into these internet spaces like the art commentary community for even a second that a lot of this violent content, even gets accepted or even arguably normalized. I mean, at this point it's clear that Synnibear has been repeatedly exposed for these behaviors for nearing on 4 years. Yet it's only now, once these Tumblr kids have grown up and realized how it is, that Synni actually suffers any consequences. Consequences is honestly a stretch, as I will establish in the next parts. Synni practically gets babied through this drama unfurling. Regardless, Sinner states that this all started as Synnibear using Sinner as an outlet to vent and dump to. However, it eventually took the form of Synnibear talking about things like getting pinned to wood frames and sharing that it was incredibly hot to her. One of the fandoms that Sinner and Synnibear discussed was based around the game Your Boyfriend. According to Sinner, the game itself and the art surrounding it involved stalking, general violence, torture, dismemberment, etc. I'm not going to Google it to check if that's true, but I think it's pretty safe to assume it is. You can crucify me if I'm wrong. Figuratively, please. Regardless, Synnibear claims that this led to their schizophrenic delusions manifesting in real life, causing them to seek out terrifying content, paranoid delusions, and dead animals. I'm definitely no expert, but I don't think it was schizophrenia that's to blame for Synnibear seeking out dead animals. I think that more has to do with discussing extremely violent from the ages of 14 to 17 with Synnibear. Additionally, Synnibear does not elaborate on what exactly that means. Is he going out and killing animals, or is he seeking out content of dead animals? Both are obviously, but one is step 1 in the serial hand guide. Regardless, pretty concerningly, Synnibear also reveals that Synnibear had asked him out by sending this image to the Sock Gang group chat. As established, this group chat had several people, Synnibear stating that there was himself, Synnibear, Laurel, and 2 other individuals. I'm assuming one of those is Inon. Also, the age gap was apparently an issue for Laurel at the time, however, that seemingly never went anywhere. Moving forwards in the timeline, eventually the Boy Nightmare Sans comic was created by Synnibear and, well, sent to Synnibear. However, Synnibear provides a new detail. Specifically, Synnibear claims that Synnibear would not only ask Synnibear to read it aloud to Synnibear, but to also comment on it and provide feedback. Disregarding how that is, what kind of feedback was Synnibear expecting? Oh yeah, this is great and all, but I think you need to add another tile of boy violating Nightmare Sans. That would really be the cherry on top. Anyway, Synnibear also claims that Synnibear would request they roleplay together. Somewhat predictably, this primarily just revolved around Synnibear fantasizing about various scenarios to put Nightmare Sans in. It wasn't just the comics that were sent either. Synnibear would send explicit images depicting rape, bondage, etc., including Synnibear's OC with one or multiple of her boyfriends, as she called them, that being the various OCs created by underage artists. Synnibear would either just send the or straight up get on cool with Synnibear and browse Rule 34 together. This all culminated in Synnibear requesting that Synnibear drew artwork including Synnibear's OC with her multiple boyfriends, again as she calls them. This included requests of scenarios, which according to Synnibear glorified. Moving on to 2023, when Synnibear is 16, Synnibear had begun talking about her personal life, expressing her frustrations rather than fantasizing about children's game characters. I mean, I'm sure she still did that as well, but you get my point. This is evidenced by Synnibear sending a photo of her vibrator to Synnibear asking how she is supposed to use it. Knows why either of them are exchanging this conversation, but it is especially odd to me that it's the 16-year-old explaining to the 19-year-old how to use the vibrator, but whatever. One of the most major pieces of evidence that Synnibear presents is a message exchange from 2021, right when they first met, which includes Synnibear asking Synnibear if they are ever made uncomfortable by conversations with Synnibear, to which Synnibear states no. Synnibear then goes on a tirade about how that morning she got really scared because a little voice in her head imitating a deviant art ranter said, "Synni creeped a child. Clearly they have plans to get together once they're older, aka once they're both of legal age." Synni is constantly driven conversations with a minor, which you should blame Synni for because as the adult, she needs to distance herself from the child who has a crush on her. Which, yes, Synni, you probably should have listened to the hallucinated deviant art ranter voice. Well, the documents weren't the only allegations raised against Synnibear03, because her ex-roommate, Birdie, aka Jack, aka Damage Coder 6669, aka Lucifer, also came out with a video confirming all of the documents as well as presenting new claims. To be specific, he released his video after the second document but before the third one. If you could not tell from the fact that they have 4 pseudonyms, this individual in themselves is a can of worms, and they have been involved in numerous dramas, being the subject of countless deviant art rants and art commentary community videos throughout basically their entire career, but more specifically since 2017.
I remember her threatening to send me to the mental hospital involuntarily so she wouldn't have to deal with me anymore because I relapsed back into and she thought this would be a good excuse to have me institutionalized. Honestly, I'm still suffering the effects from this psychotic episode to this day. Obviously,
bro, what the am I listening to? That's a story for the next video, however. For now, just know that they ended up confirming some of the allegations against Synnibear as well as raising new ones. So how did Synni respond to these documents raising these allegations as well as Birdie's claims? Well, she released a 2-minute long video basically just saying, you got me.
I've been an irresponsible content creator, and I've been acting inappropriately towards my fans. This alone is enough for me to realize I need to make sweeping changes to how I conduct myself and how I interact with my fans. But the most serious thing I've done is I've grew a minor. I became friends with a 14-year-old after I made a mental note to myself to not become friends with minors again, and I overshared with them. I shared graphic, explicit materials with them when I shouldn't have. I grew this child, and I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I betrayed everyone who looked up to me. I betrayed my friends. I've done the worst possible thing I could have done, and I'm suffering for my choices. I'm ashamed of myself for doing this and hurting everyone. I'll be closing my Discord server. I'm shutting down my Patreon. I won't be posting my art. If I ever come back, it will be years from now. I don't want anyone to try to defend me. I don't deserve your pity. I'm not the victim here. I did this to myself.
Surely no one's gonna try and defend her after that self-admission, right? Right?
Another person in the ArcCC has been outed as a bad person. Gee, that's surprisingly new. In other news, there's gonna be a sunrise tomorrow morning. That being said, this situation might not be as cut and dry as you once thought. Unlike everyone else who rushed out their video on Synni, I actually reached out to her, and she agreed to do an interview with me. Just like with the Pyrocynical drama, the Spoctor drama from 2016, and the Hopeless Peaches drama, there was something about the Synnibear situation that didn't feel right. I'll give you two options. You can take the blue pill and just believe the mainstream opinion about Synni, or you can take the red pill, and I can show you just how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Thank you for watching. As established, the next video will be covering Synnibear03's ex-roommate Jack. However, once that is out of the way, we can get to the somehow more deranged part of the drama, that being just a robot and the various other individuals who decided to die on Groomer Hill. Don't worry though, I will still be addressing the Nightmare Blunt Rotation members that I'm yet to get to. That will just be after this brief little foray into the art commentary community. Like or dislike the video depending on how you felt about it. Feel free to comment down below with feedback or criticism. Subscribe and the notification bell hit to be notified of my future uploads. And thank you to the 3 big dogs who have paid for a membership on my channel. No Doze, Miss Fox McCoy, and Jack Bradley. I have you to thank for my continued existence.